Meanwhile, to a Fox News alert today marks day 4. Day 4 in the manhunt for the so-called devil in the Ozarks, a former Arkansas police chief sentenced for murder and rape who snuck out of prison wearing a police uniform.
So this is what we know. According to court documents, Grant Harden escaped in an unofficial prison uniform after tricking a worker into letting him out of a secure gate. He's considered very dangerous.
Based on the information that we have and the experience of our teams, they feel fairly confident that he is still fairly close to this region. We're not going to rule anything out at this point, obviously. There's a lot of caves around here. There's a lot of hills, and so understanding that he may have that sort of familiarity provides a challenge.
So Harden was sentenced to 30 years in prison after pleading guilty to the 2017 murder of 59-year-old James Appleton, who was on the side of the road in his pickup truck. A city water employee was found shot in that vehicle. The victim's sister, who is now the mayor of the town where her brother was killed, is worried for her safety.
I'm really concerned with myself, my husband, and I have a twin sister that's on our city council, and she was on the council at that time. So, and he knows us. So, yeah, it's very scary.
Officials are warning Harden could commit more crimes while on the run.
So our next guest dealt with Harden firsthand when he fired him from the police force. Former Arkansas Police Chief Earl Hyatt joins us now. Chief, you surprised this guy, as evil as he is, was savvy enough to get out?
It was a shock to me, but yeah, he's pretty sly.
Yeah, so Chief, you know the saying, no one hates a dirty cop more than a good cop. What are some of the things that you witnessed when he worked for you?
Well, I became the chief of police in August of '96, and Harden was there as a police officer, but I knew Harden from before because I had been a deputy sheriff in the same county. And within 6 weeks of me taking over as chief, I was able to document 3 major violations on his part, the last one being lying in a police report and the others being using excessive force. And so 6 weeks after I started as chief, I called him in and was going to terminate him, but he resigned as I was doing it. So didn't matter to me. He was separated from the department.
Huh. So, Chief, I know that he went and became the police chief at a different department, but I was reading, okay, so you became chief in 1996. In 1997, yes. So he shoots this guy on the side of the road in 2017. So 20 years before that, in 1997, because of that shooting, y'all took his DNA, or someone did, and then they matched it with this rape. I understand that happened while you were the chief of police in 1997. This teacher was at the school. I think they were having a church service in the gym. No one else was at the school. She goes to the faculty bathroom, comes out, and a man is standing there, covered and disguised with a gun. Rapes her in the bathroom, rapes her in another classroom, and then runs off. But he was caught 20 years later. How do you feel about that, knowing you were the chief, he was working in your department? I don't know, maybe it wasn't at that time. Maybe he had already resigned. But he was doing that when you were the chief.
He had resigned in October of '96.
Okay.
So the rape was actually committed after he had resigned from the department or was going to be fired. But, you know, it's still so saddening that this individual victimized a teacher in her classroom while she's in there trying to prepare a lesson plan. It's just he's just a very volatile, violent person.
Okay, here he is. He's out and about. He found a way to get out. He knows the area. Where would you be looking for him?
Well, that would be speculation on my part, but, you know, he's pretty smart. I would think that if he had any accomplice outside, he would probably be out of the area. But I'm not part of the search, nor am I the one making the plans. So I'm sure the people on the ground are doing the right thing.
But Chief, you know as well as anyone, when you got a fugitive that's on the loose that has nothing to lose, they become very violent in that regard as well. So how does this end?
Well, hopefully it does not end with somebody else being hurt. You know, I hope and pray that Hardin is captured by the authorities quickly and before he does harm somebody.
Yeah, Chief, I know officials say they're confident he's still in the area. I don't know how they would know that. But what was he like as a person? Are you shocked by all of this?
You know, he's not a good person. He is not a good person. And I was surprised when he escaped. I was surprised whenever he was convicted of the homicide and of the rape. I knew he was a violent person, but I didn't realize to that extent. But, you know, he is the kind of person that will capitalize on anything he can get hold of to further himself.
Real quickly, Chief, before we let you go, there's this theme that happens sometimes with dirty cops. They jump around different police departments. What was the talk around town when he was promoted, though, to chief? Because I'm sure there's other law enforcement officials that knew he was dirty.
Well, when he was made chief of police, you have to understand that town has like 400 people in it.
Gotcha.
And he was their first police officer in that town, and so far is still the last police officer in that town.
Wow.
He was also
It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, he was an elected constable in that voting district, and then the city council in that small town made him the police chief. But it's my understanding that the man that he murdered was part of his demise, in that it was discovered quickly that Hardin was abusing his authority in that town.
Absolutely. That's what's so sad for us and for our viewers, to know people like you, good individuals who just want to make our community safer. And he became chief, and he did anything but.
Chief,
Correct, yeah.
Chief, we thank you for giving us some info this morning. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for your service.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right, 19.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.